So, what you should get from that quick video, as well as the pictures, is just how fractured things got. 60 imperial pretenders in less than 50 years. 234, 235 to 284, 285. Everything almost completely falls apart. So let's look at some of the effects of this. First of all, the city of Rome no longer matters because it's not near the frontiers. The emperors need to be near the frontiers. If they're not near the frontiers, the Goths, the Germans, and the Persians will attack. You may have also noticed that there were a bunch of barbarians constantly attacking Egypt from the south. There were a bunch of lesser threats that I haven't gone into. So Rome, while it still gets the grain from Egypt and still calls itself the capital of the empire, rarely sees any of these imperial pretenders. Rome obviously sees Gallienus. He rules from there for a while. Rome sees Aurelian because he builds the walls there. But in general terms, Rome is much less important than it used to be. It's just one city among the entire many cities of the empire. Yeah.
When Aurelian built the walls, did he build it just around the city, or did he also build it like around the suburbs?
Just around the city.
Okay.
So we're going to get to what happened to the suburbs, but you can't. The problem with building walls is you want a wall that's long enough to encompass what you need. You need a water source, you need food, you need enough room for your people. But it's not a place you can live, it's a place you retreat to in times of crisis, like a panic room. If you build walls around an area too large, you don't have enough people to defend the walls. So the walls become useless. They become these structures, and all you need to cross a wall is ladders. If you don't have people up top shooting down and throwing the ladders down and all of that. So, yeah, he built them around the city, which is still pretty darn big, but it is, no, not around the suburbs. Question? Okay. So, the borders of Rome are at best porous. Dacia is lost, the great project of Trajan, and an area between the upper Rhine and the upper Danube that the Romans briefly occupied to shorten the border, that's also lost. The barbarians invade Rome almost at will. There's the invasion that leads to the Spanish, the sacking of Spain. There's the invasion that leads to the fleet being captured by the Goths. There's the invasion of Greece, which is only destroyed after it's sacked Greece. So the borders of the empire, despite the fact that they have some fortifications like Hadrian's Wall, are a problem. And in fact, in Britain, it's a fairly minor problem to the empire. The Picts from across the wall begin raiding south of the wall. They begin penetrating the wall, going over it, and they end up attacking Britannia in the south. The empire, as I say, fractures. You have Posthumus in the west, and you have Odenathus and Zenobia in the east. This is bad. I mean, maybe the fractured empire would become 2 or 3 or 4 nations that would work together, but that's less likely given the way Romans think. The Romans ultimately want a unified empire that, has a stable set of laws and a stable set of borders, but they don't get that. Instead, you have only 1/3 of the empire paying taxes to the emperor in Rome. Plus the emperor in Gaul and the emperess in Palmyra, they basically argue they're the emperor now. So the tax revenue of the Roman government is cut. The military power of Rome is reduced. In your notes, you will see the diagrams that show military defense. So we're going back to those diagrams. This is where forward defense used to be. It's after the last page of pictures. No, it's after the last page of maps. Here we go. You got 3 diagrams. We've seen this before. Looks like this. Okay. The top is forward defense. Now let's look at the same area on the middle right during the crisis of the 3rd century. when Rome adopted elastic defense. So, first of all, on the upper right of that middle map, the Romans have abandoned their territory across the river. That hill is no longer Roman. So the barbarians take it over. Then the barbarians, the white Arabs, cross into the Roman Empire in several places. And they use the Roman roads to more quickly attack and despoil Rome. Rome's roads, once its glory, becomes its curse, because the enemy can take the highways and penetrate far deeper into the empire than they otherwise would have. Only when a force is gathered in the center of the empire and marches north, you see that black trident at the bottom center of the middle map, only then are the barbarians pounced on and hopefully knocked back. So it's elastic defense in the sense that you have a border that is penetrated, and then only when the empire gathers enough force will they bounce the barbarians back across the border. Sometimes that's not for years. In a few cases, it's not ever. But usually it takes time. And all during that time, remember all the things I said about not wanting to fight a war on your own territory? Well, the Romans are fighting wars on their own territory. It's their women that are getting raped. It's their cities that are getting burned. It's their property that's getting stolen. It's their men and children that are getting killed. It's their children that are getting enslaved. The Romans begin suffering big time. And they're not used to it anymore. They're used to being civilians. The old legions, the professional soldiers of the high point of Rome's empire, all for the most part, there's a statement. For the most part, they die off. They are killed in the constant fratricide of civil wars. They are killed by Germans, Goths, and Persians. They are killed in the constant warfare of those 50 terrible, terrible years. And they're killed in a way, in mass, in so quick a fashion, that a lot of their knowledge dies with them. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And this is not just true of the Roman soldier, it's also true of the blacksmiths and the craftsmen. Roman armor goes from the beginning of this period, when Roman soldiers have the lorica segmentata, the overlapping metal plate armor that is the best in the world for close to 800 years. In less than 50 years, they go back to wearing chainmail, which is inferior in every respect, but it's easier to make. You get a bunch of links, you link them together, and you've got some armor. You wear it over padding, you're going to be okay, but it's not like the armor used to be. That knowledge is gone. In fact, the great Roman helmets of the Pax Romana that have the solid plate of metal, and they have a neck guard, and they've got a layer of steel jutting out over the head to provide a sun visor, and also to prevent the eyes from being so easily attacked by slashing weapons, that have the cheek guards and the ear holes, and it's a comfortable helmet to wear as far as helmets go, and it's a very effective helmet. That's a complex piece of metal to build. So the Romans stop building them. They lose the talent. Instead, they end up building these two half helmets that they rivet together. So instead of having a helmet that is shaped ergonomically for you to move, you've got a plate here, a ridge up the top, and solid protection around the side of the head. You've got no ear holes, so you can't hear well. It doesn't breathe well. It hurts when you wear it. And it's an inferior helmet because if you hit it in the right spot, it's going to split down the middle. The quality of Rome's weapons and armor really goes down quickly, Dark Age style. A Dark Age comes this close to becoming fully realized. But the Roman Empire goes through many of the symptoms of a Dark Age in that the sophisticated equipment of their ancestors is no longer something that the Romans build. They don't have the time for it, they don't have the resources for it, and they don't have the skills for it. The last thing I'm going to say today is about economics. Economically, what destroys Rome are a few things. First off, every time an army proclaims an emperor. Oh, wait, what if you don't want to be an emperor? What if you walk out of your tent one morning and you're a general and your army shouts, "Hey, general, you're the emperor now." And you say no. You can't. Even if you say no, I'm loyal to the other emperor. I wouldn't do that. No, sorry guys, thanks, but no. The other emperor will learn of this. The other emperor will know that you were offered the Imperium by your troops, and the other emperor will have you killed as a potential risk. Once your troops proclaim you emperor, it's victory or death. A lot of the generals that were proclaimed probably didn't want to be emperor, but the troops wanted them to be emperor. Because if you win a civil war, there's that donative I told you about that Septimus Severus paid. It's a victory bonus. If the troops proclaim their general the emperor, and they win the civil war, the emperor is going to give them beaucoup coin, lots of money, a donative. And that's why the soldiers do it. They want to be the Praetorian Guard, and they want to have the money. They want the donative. The problem is, there's only so much gold and silver in the Roman world. How can you keep giving donatives to your troops when you don't have more gold and silver? I know. Mix brass in with your gold. Mix tin in with your silver. Yeah, and nickel and bronze and dilute the coinage. So Roman coins at the beginning of this period are pure silver for the denarius and pure gold for the aureus. But very quickly, as this period goes on, in order to pay the 50 gold pieces or whatever, or the 10 gold pieces that the general promises as a donative to their troops, in order to pay that, the only way the Romans can do that, can give those troops the coin, is to make sure that each coin has less and less precious metal. Now, unlike today, where all money is symbolic, Roman money was based on how much silver or gold is in it. And since there's less silver and gold, people began trusting the coinage less. What this leads to, this diluted coinage, is hyperinflation. Used to be a silver piece was a working man's daily wage. That's the way it was throughout the period of the Principate and the Pax Romana. But now, a working man may earn 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 denarii if he's lucky. Because what one single denarius used to buy now takes 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Because there's less and less gold and less and less silver in the case of the denarius. There's less and less silver in each coin. You can see the difference in the coins. Some of them look terrible because silver is beautiful. The substitutes are not. The coins weigh differently. They feel differently. They're made with different levels of quality. But most importantly, there isn't gold or there isn't silver. Soon it takes 20 denarii to buy what an old denarius used to buy. When that starts happening, you know what people start doing? They start bartering. They start trading chickens for milk, goats for sheep, protection for food. Barter is like using olive oil in your automobile's engine. It's a bad idea. It does not have the strength to stand up to it. With the return of barter to whole sections of the empire, this is a further sign that Rome is right on the edge of another dark age. And that's where we'll leave things for today. So, if you have questions or comments or thoughts, now would be a good time to ask. I have A-Day people today, and I will look forward to seeing you B-Day people again tomorrow. And A-Day people, get your food and come back.
Remember
Oh, tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow's the AP. Anyway, you at home. Bye.